Are you trying to fit more protein into your diet? Maybe you're bored of eating the same type of protein week in, week out. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing my top 9 sources of protein for a ketogenic diet, saving, as always, the best until last. Hey Carb Dodgers, I'm Dr. Dan Maggs. I'm so glad you've landed on my channel, which is all about achieving lasting weight loss through low carb, real food nutrition. So if you're new here and that sounds good to you, then please do hit that subscribe button. Now, protein is an essential part of our diet. It's needed for building and maintaining muscle, for bone strength, and for an endless number of other bodily functions. But what makes for a good protein source on a low carb or ketogenic diet? Well, there are 5 things that we need to consider. Number 1 is low in carbohydrate. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? We're talking about a low carb ketogenic way of eating, so our protein source must be low in carbohydrates. Number 2, proteins should be complete. What do you mean complete, Dr. Dan? Well, a complete protein contains all 9 essential amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, and different combinations make up different proteins. There are 20 different amino acids that our bodies need, and 9 of these are what we call essential. And essential means that we need to eat them as we cannot make them. The other non-essential amino acids can be made from the 9 essential ones. And complete proteins are foods which contain all of these essential amino acids. If we don't eat the full range of these amino acids in sufficient quantities, then we can become protein deficient, and this will have poor health consequences over the longer term. For example, fatigue, weakness, muscle loss, depression and anxiety, and insomnia, to name just a few. Complete proteins are almost entirely sourced from animal products, with a few exceptions which we'll talk about later. Vegan and vegetarian diets can obtain sufficient amounts of all essential amino acids, but you need to pay particular attention to eating a variety of foods to achieve this. However, this is where we start to run into problems, because many of these proteins, such as whole grains and legumes, are high in carbs and are not ideal for a low carbohydrate or ketogenic diet. Number 3. Proteins should be bioavailable. Bioavailable means we need to be able to absorb it through the gut. There is no point in eating a food with a lot of protein in it if your body cannot absorb and use it. And there are different scoring systems and tables that you can go and look different foods up. But basically, we want to eat proteins that have the highest bioavailability scores. Number 4, proteins should be nutrient dense. Nutrient-dense food sources give us the most vitamins and minerals for the least amount of calorific energy. So whilst today we are focusing on protein, we're always trying to pack in as many other nutrients along the way. And number 5, proteins don't necessarily need to be high in fat. And whilst a ketogenic diet allows us to consume natural fats fairly freely, you might expect that I'm only going to be listing high-fat proteins here. But there are loads of other ways to add healthy fats into your diet, and I made a video all about this recently, which you can check out by clicking up here. Right, it's time for the list. In reverse order, saving the best until the end. At number 9 is nuts. Nuts contain moderate amounts of protein and are not complete proteins, but really make the list because of their fantastic nutrient density. They can be great to supplement other sources of protein in your diet and are packed full of omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin E, vitamin B vitamins, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and of course, fiber. Now, nuts vary in their carbohydrate content, so you want to be opting for the lowest and eat with the skin on to preserve their antioxidant properties. Almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, pecan nuts, and macadamia nuts are all great options here. Number 8 is seeds. Like nuts, these are powerhouses of nutrition, but they sit slightly higher on the list because in terms of lower carb options, they have more protein gram for gram. They're still an incomplete protein, so need to be used to supplement other protein sources. So why not try adding some to your salads or having some as a snack? Hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower, sesame and flax seeds are all great choices. And if you want to go a bit deeper on the nuts and seeds, I actually made a video a while back all about that too, which again is linked up here. Number 7, somewhat controversially, is soy. Soy makes the list because in terms of plant-based sources of protein, it's actually really low in carbohydrates, it's a complete protein and has excellent bioavailability. It's the most widely used vegetable source of protein in the world because of this, and if you're a vegan or vegetarian, this can be a good source of protein for you to consume. So why is it not higher on the list if it is a complete protein and has excellent bioavailability? Well, there are a few problems with soy. Soy is generally a heavily processed crop, and it's this processing that destroys a lot of its natural goodness. Now, soy has been enjoyed for hundreds, probably thousands of years, particularly across Asia. However, these foods are a far cry from the soy-based products that are commonly available today. Traditional soy products are minimally processed, usually slowly fermented to reduce the natural toxins that are present in the beans. Commonly, soy is also a genetically modified crop which needs heavy pesticide use. And there are other significant environmental concerns around soy. As demand for soy products has increased over the last 50 years or so, huge areas of land have been converted into soy plantations, causing wide-scale deforestation and other devastating knock-on effects, the Amazon rainforest being of particular concern. And it's this environmental impact that is our biggest concern regarding soy. So is soy all bad? Well, if you choose carefully, you can enjoy soy-based foods as an alternative to or as a supplement to meat, and this will provide you with a good source of protein. So if you wish to enjoy soy, I'd strongly recommend you try to find sustainable, certified products to protect the environment. Choose organic, whole food varieties where possible to minimize the chemical treatment and processing of the beans. Choose things like fermented real soy sauce, miso or tempeh. Number 6 is eggs, and we do love our eggs here at Carb Dodging. They are a superfood nutritional powerhouse with almost zero carbohydrates in them. The egg whites contain most of the protein, but we definitely encourage you to eat a whole egg to get all of those extra nutrients that are contained in the yolk. Choose wisely though, as eggs are only as good as the food that the hens have been fed. And I think this is the start of a recurring theme that we'll see throughout the animal sources of proteins. And we definitely encourage you to buy the best you can afford when it comes to the quality of your food, particularly when it comes to animal products. Number 5 is dairy products. Dairy can be a great source of protein that can just about be incorporated into any meal. Cheese is, of course, a great source of protein, low in carbohydrate and packed with lots of other vitamins and minerals. Choose carefully if you need to watch your weight, as the fat content can be a little too high for some, particularly because cheese can be a bit of a trigger food for some people, making it very easy to over-consume. Cottage cheese, however, comes with the highest amount of protein and the lowest fat content, so maybe a good alternative choice there. Yogurt is another great source of protein that is low in carbs and full of other nutritional benefits, but how confusing is the yogurt fridge in the supermarket? Most commercially available yogurts are unfortunately full of added sugars and flavourings and are not so healthy. The best option for a low carb or ketogenic diet is a full fat Greek yogurt, or perhaps some of the newer brands of higher protein yogurt. Quark is the new kid on the block I've seen and contains a massive 14 grams per 100 grams of protein and only 3.3 grams of carbohydrates. But is this yogurt or actually cheese? I've tasted it and it tastes kind of like a cross between blended cottage cheese and yogurt. I'm guessing it could be quite versatile. Let me know if you've tried it. Let me know if you like it. Let me know what you've done with it. I just want to mention whey protein, because whey protein is basically a waste product from the cheese and yogurt production process. You may have seen the liquid that floats on top of a yogurt. That is whey. And it's a complete protein and it is absorbed super easily. As a powder supplement, however, it really is just protein. It contains no additional nutritional benefits. And a lot of protein powders have added sugars to enhance the flavour. So if you do use it, be careful to read the label and choose one that is very low in sugar. We don't recommend this as a meal replacement, but it can be used as a means to consume additional protein, especially if you do a lot of exercise, particularly if you're doing a lot of strength training. Number 4 is poultry. Not only is poultry a great source of protein, but it is plentiful in B vitamins, iron, zinc, copper, and selenium. Chicken is the most popular source of poultry, with breast meat having the highest protein content, but for many it is the least flavorful. Chicken thighs are a great keto option as they are higher in fat and definitely have more flavor. They're also much cheaper than chicken breast. Unfortunately, the majority of chicken production is intensively managed and grain-fed, plumped with water to increase its weight. You'll see this when you're cooking with the excess watery fluid is released. So if you do enjoy chicken, try to get the best quality that you can afford. And of course, other great sources of poultry are things like turkey, duck, and goose. Number 3 is red meat. Yeah, red meat comes in at number 3 because of its nutritional density, being particularly rich in heme iron, and this is the most bioavailable source of iron. Adequate intake of iron is essential for the production of red blood cells. Iron deficiency is a common cause of anemia, and yes, you can get iron from plant food sources. However, it's non-heme iron, which is not as available to the body as heme iron. Heme iron from meat enables the body to absorb more of the non-heme iron from plant sources when they are consumed together. This is also a really good time to mention the importance of vitamin B12 because animal products such as meat are the only good dietary sources of B12, and B12 is an essential nutrient that is important for blood formation, and deficiency can cause anemia. Now, anemia is very easily reversed, but B12 deficiency can have effects on the brain and the nervous system that are completely irreversible. So anyone considering a purely plant-based diet must take vitamin B12 supplements. Probably the most popular of red meats is beef. So many cuts to choose from to suit any taste, preference and budget. So many different ways to prepare and enjoy. It really is a case of choose and cook any which way you want to. Pork, again, is another versatile meat. Choose carefully though. Some pork products such as bacon and sausages are heavily processed with added ingredients such as sugar, other forms of carbohydrates, and who knows what other stuff they put in there as well. Lamb. Lamb is the oldest known domesticated meat species, going back approximately 9,000 years in the Middle East. It's a very similar nutritional profile to beef and pork, high protein content, lots of other great vitamins and minerals in there. It is a wonderfully flavoursome meat that pairs really well with like Middle Eastern spices, but is equally delicious as a simple roast joint. Now here in the UK, lamb is pretty commonplace. As I was driving here this morning, I got stuck because the farmers were moving their sheep. My clients in the USA though tell me that lamb isn't easily available, but that goat meat is increasingly available and has a kind of a similar flavour. Maybe you're from the USA and are watching this video, you could let me know if you've tried these meats or if they're even available near you. Number 2 is fish. It's low carb, it's high in bioavailable protein and can also deliver great amounts of healthy omega-3 fats. These fats are super important for our health and most people do not consume anywhere near enough. It is vital that we try to balance our omega-3 to omega-6 ratio by reducing our omega-6 intake and increasing our omega-3. This helps to reduce our risk of poor health with cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and other inflammatory conditions. The availability of different species of fish varies massively throughout the world. In fact, my clients in Australia tell me that shark is a very popular option down under. Wherever you are, please consider buying sustainable fish to help preserve stocks and to protect the environment. Oily fish include species like salmon, sardines, mackerel, pilchards, herring, trout, those kind of things. These contain the highest amount of omega-3, so try and have at least once a week. Shellfish is another great option. Mussel, prawns, crab, oysters, squid, lobster, those kind of things. These can be a little bit higher in carbohydrate, but still pretty low. Some of these deliver omega-3, but not quite as much as oily fish. Still a great source of other vitamins and minerals such as selenium, zinc, iodine and copper. Whitefish, of course, things like cod, haddock plaice, pollock, typically lower in fat but still provide a great amount of protein. I'm a big fan of whitefish, especially with a lovely lemon, caper and butter sauce. Absolutely delicious. So our number one choice in the protein stakes is organ meats. Now, a little bit controversial for many people I know, but bear with me here. Organ meat or offal used to be a lot more popular, but not so much these days, and yet it is probably the most nutrient dense food you can consume. It fits the low carb, ketogenic way of eating incredibly well, given its typically higher fat content with a good amount of protein and minimal carbohydrate. Liver, for example, can provide more than 500% of the recommended daily allowance for copper, vitamin A and B12. Liver is a really easy one to get into your diet in the form of pate. Which is really easy to make, by the way. And I'll put a link in the description to our recipe for pate. Kidneys are very rich in B vitamins and selenium and make a great addition to beef or pork dishes. Organ meats tend to be cheaper than other cuts of meat too, and can be used to bulk out other meat dishes, such as adding liver to bolognese or a beef stew. It reduces the overall cost of the meal and increases its nutrient density. We also love the fact that when we get worried about environmental impact of animal husbandry, what better way to reduce the overconsumption than by eating so much more of the animal rather than wasting it? So there you have it, the carb dodging top 9 protein superfoods. If you include a variety of these in your meals each week, you can easily obtain sufficient protein whilst boosting your intake of a wide range of essential fats, vitamins and minerals, and of course remain low carb. I'd love to hear which of these you're going to try to consume more of. Will it be the organ meats or offal? Or is that just something that is a step too far? Let me know in the comments down below and give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. I'm back and making a lot more YouTube videos for you like this at the moment. So if you want to get notified when I put new videos out, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, which will send you a notification when a new video goes live. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.